Hi, my name's Starsky and welcome to From the Studio on Clubbing TV. In this episode, we're going to take a look at a little lo-fi crunchy sampler. It's the Lo-Fi 12 from Sonicware.
OMG, this is amazing. Watch to the end. This guy is searching for classic 90s vibes. Will he find them in his attic, in his old Akai samplers? Oh look, he's found them. That 12-bit crunch was hiding in plain sight. In his new Lo-Fi 12 from Sonicware.
And why was I in the loft looking for my old samplers? Well, this has got a distinctly Akai from the 90s look about it. A lot of them looked a little bit like photocopiers and fax machines, and they've got this sort of office beige look. And this is obviously reminiscent of that, and it's called the Lo-Fi 12, and that's because we've got a 12-bit mode, like in the classic Akai S950, that made drum loops sound really crunchy and gave a really nice, distinct feel, a little bit like this. First thing you might notice about it sitting on the desk here is that it's not connected to anything. It's even got its own built-in speaker. And that really does give it a lo-fi vibe. It's like you're listening to it on some old transistor radio or something. Sitting on the sofa, no headphones, no power leads. We've got batteries in the back of it. That's powered by 6 AA batteries. You can use 9-volt DC if you like, and the batteries last. I had some rechargeables in here. They lasted probably about 8 hours, so you get an awful lot of time from your batteries. And you'll notice that all the inputs are on the top. We've got the 9-volt DC, we've got sync in and out, we've got a MIDI in, a MIDI out, we've got a line in because it is a sampler after all. We've also got a line out and a separate headphone out. There's nothing on the back, nothing on the sides. I feel a bit like a magician showing this, but yeah, it's what you see is what you get from the front panel. And what is it exactly? Well, we see here we've got 4 tracks. So we've got a 4-track sequencer on board, we've got that sampler on board, and we've got this little overlay here that we can use to edit your samples. There's not complex sample editing in this, there's no time stretching, it's just things like setting start, end points, reverse, loop points, stuff like that. It's got its own little keyboard, and the 16 white keys also double up as functions. So if we come here, we've got settings, we've got copy, we've got auto step on or off, we've got the BPM modes, global or paired pattern, all that sort of stuff, MIDI channels, line in levels, mono or stereo, and you'll notice here as well that we've got a frequency setting of 24K or 12K. And 12K is that little crunchy mode, and you get 4 seconds of sample time, only 4 seconds of sample time, so it is very much like my old Akai S950, or you get 2 seconds of sample time if you use it in 24-bit mode. So using it in the crunchy 12-bit mode, it doesn't lose frequencies really, it just gets a bit more sort of aliasy and a little bit more noisy. We've also got a mono mode. If we go to the line in settings, we can set the gain, and we can set if it's mono or stereo. I'll leave it on mono because I'm going to sample a drum loop in a minute, and I've only got a mono line in from the door. And we get 8 banks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it comes preloaded with 5 banks, each containing 16 samples. So let's plug it in and take a listen to some of them. So we've got drums, instruments, loops, and this thing called VAR1 and VAR2. I don't think it's got anything to do with football, but... And samples are automatically mapped across the keyboard, so it's really easy to load something in and then just play it, but you can't have the option of having a different sample per key like you do on a lot of things. But if you want to do that, you can use parameter locks. So there's loads in here to get you started, but should we try sampling something ourselves? I'm going to bring in a line in from my door. I'm going to choose the sample to overwrite. So I think there's nothing on. Let's go to 616. Okay, so there's nothing on that. So to set up record, we just press function and sampling, and we can see this is flashing red. Now we're in sort of record standby mode. As we play the beat, we can see we're getting a monitor level here. And we've got an auto record threshold on this, so we won't start recording until it reaches a certain threshold. So you can set the gain, you can change the threshold using, if we go into shift and setting, got auto record level. And this is really handy because it means that you don't record lots of empty space before you sample. And that's really important here because you've only got 2 or 4 seconds worth of sampling time. So we're in record monitor mode. Let's put it into record mode, press shift and record again, and play the loop. And the LEDs are showing you the recording time. And now we can go in and edit that sample if we want. We can use this little overlay. Edit it, change the start time, or the start position I should say, play it backwards, or put a loop on there. So it's quite basic, but it's useful. So let's now create a little pattern with that loop. We get 16 patterns built in that have all been named, and then we've got 3 other banks of empty patterns, of 16 empty patterns. So bank 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we can select them using the bank knobs, or these octave buttons I should say, or we can use this knob here to flick through them. And 216 I know has got nothing on it, so let's load that one. You can hear there's nothing playing. The drum loop's at 90 BPM, so let's set it at 90 and let's load the sample into track 1. It was in user 16, wasn't it? And that's automatically being spread across the keyboard. For a nice bit of drum and bass if you like. But let's record it. We can put it into record mode and we can either step input or we can play it live. So if we play it live, we can't hear the metronome. So let's turn the metronome on. Go to function and metronome and just turn it up. Okay, so when I play, I've got a metronome. We've also got a pre-count that you can set using function and pre-count. So we get 4 beats and then it'll play. Let's add something on top of that then, onto channel 2. Let's find that electric piano sound. Okay, the drum loop's playing a 16-step pattern, but we'll want this to do, say, 4 bars, so we'll set this to 64 steps. So function, length, 64. Oops. And then play this live as well. Nice, we leave it at that for now. Let's do a little bit of parameter locking and put some filters on them. So if we go to track 1, for example, and we'll go to function and filter, and let's put a low pass filter on there. Let's play it. Sounds quite nice. Let's parameter lock that in. put it into live mode, shift and parameter lock, and let's record. So and that's it, that's simple to do. Don't need to add any more lines here, but let's add some more lo-fi effects. If we press function and reverb, we've got a global reverb, but it's not just reverbs. If we look at what we've got here, we've got reverbs, but we've also got tape and vinyl, and I really like this tape one. So let's put it on tape, and then we've got our overall effect level there. We start playing it. Really does sound like it's going through some knackered old tape, doesn't it? So there you have it, the Sonicware Liven Lofi 12. It's crunchy, it's lo-fi, it's easy to use. It's not got tons in it, but it's got enough to get you going. And actually, I really like things that sometimes just limit your capabilities, basically. Sometimes you've got a studio, you can do whatever you want, but once you focus your mind into 4 tracks and 4 samples, you actually tend to get something a little bit more musical, actually. So I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, don't forget you can catch it whenever you like on our Clubbing TV official YouTube channel on the From the Studio playlist. And if you do have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll see what I can do to answer them. And if you are into this, do take a look at my Starsky Carr YouTube channel as well. I've got a much longer deep dive into it to help you. If you've bought one, watch that and you'll know how to use it. Okay, I'll see you in the next episode of From the Studio.